Hey, hi, I'm Kiyoshi and welcome to Kiyoshi and the Voices channel. Today I'm going to be doing a story time on my labor and delivery story. Finally. Alright, so 7 months into our marriage, we found out we were pregnant, and that was in 2014. So my husband was deployed. I lived in Fort Carson. Any of my family and friends, of course, they live like 20-30 minutes away. So I made sure to always like stay close to my mom and my sister and just my family because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone. So, and I didn't want to drive myself in labor to the hospital. So I made sure to always stay around my mom. I remember we were sitting on the couch. The house was full for some reason. My mom's house is always full. Everyone loves her. And we were all sitting on the couch, and my brothers, his friends, my mom, my sister, her boyfriend, and some other people. All I know is it was a house full that day. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I just feel like I peed on myself. That's what I thought. And I just sat there because I'm like, oh God, I kind of tinkled a bit on myself. A girl ain't getting up in front of all these people. No, ain't moving. But more came. More started to come out. And I was like, okay, let me like run to the bathroom. My mom was downstairs in her room. And I was like, Mom, come here. I think I peed on myself. And my mom was like, if you peed on yourself, you would know. And she was like, take off your panties and let me smell it. And I was like, what? Because she said if it was my water, it wouldn't have a smell or an odor or something like that. And I'm like, okay, sure, that's what we doing. So I handed her, my undergarments, and she was like, this was your water. We got to go to the hospital. So me, my sister, my mom, we got to drive all the way to Fort Carson, which is like 20 something minutes away. And that's where I was going to be admitted. Little did I know. But as I'm sitting there, I felt like it is taking forever. Forever, because they have to test and see if it was my water. They have to check to see if I'm dilated. Little did the girl know, my water ruptured. Your girl was gonna get admitted. I was so scared. I'm like, oh my God, Brandon's not here. That's my husband. And I'm like, he's gonna miss our son's birth. What am I gonna do? And he's deployed, so we have to call Red Cross or whatever and get him, like, have him coming home so he can see me and my son and make sure we're good. So I'm trying to tell my mom and my sister to tell the hospital to call Red Cross to get my husband home. I'm in pain. Like, everything is everywhere. And everybody's asking me questions, and I'm having these really bad pains, like electrical pains shooting up my body. And everybody's asking me stuff, and I'm just like, leave me alone. If he misses it, it's whatever. That's how much pain a girl was in. Like, it was bad. So my labor was pretty bad, and so was the delivery. Sadly, everything was like hard, like on my body and then on my son. Throughout labor and delivery with my son, I had high blood pressure, so I had mercury in me and all this crazy, all these IVs. I couldn't get up and use the restroom. Like, it was so bad. So anything my body was getting, of course my son was getting, because he's in my belly. And I remember there was a point where my heart rate dropped, and so did my son's. Like, it was so bad. The pain was unbearable. I remember getting the epidural twice. Not once, but twice. The first time, first of all, they did the freaking epidural and I could feel every single contraction. So I'm like, Mom, I can feel every contraction. Why is this if I got the epidural? She's like, you shouldn't be feeling any contractions because epidural is very strong and it's going to, that's the point of it, to not feel the contractions. So we called back in the doctor and they're like, oh, we're sorry, we're gonna have to take it out and do it again. So they did it again. Thank God the second time was the charm, because the epidural, first of all, is just a big risk. So I was scared from that point on, because they messing up on the epidural. Lord knows what else they gonna mess up on. A girl was scared. After they put the epidural in me, the epidural the second time, they saw how much pain I was in and they knew they messed up, so they let me sleep for about 4 hours, I think. But before I went to sleep, I think I was like 2 centimeters dilated, and I was 2 centimeters dilated for the longest time. Like, every time they kept checking, they're like, there's no progress, we're just gonna let you rest, because when you wake up, you're gonna have to push. And little did you know, a girl woke up, barely opened my eyes, they were checking me, they're like, it's time to push. Push? Now? It's time to push now. What? So the doctor told me that my son's heart rate was dropping and that he was going to have to vacuum him out, because I thought I was pushing with all my heart and I swear I like passed out, but the doctor said that they said that I was sucking him back in rather than pushing him out. So they ended up vacuuming him out of me. I heard my mom cry for joy for a minute, and then she said my first grandbaby and stuff like that. And then I heard a little scream, but then everything just went silent. So like everybody, I was looking around and everyone had like concerned faces. Remind you, I'm medicated, I can't move, and I'm just out of it. So I remember my mom telling me my son's umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck twice, and my son also swallowed his poop while coming out of me, which is a lot of bacteria, and it's just not good. So I was scared from that moment. His breathing, his heart, like everything that could go bad was going bad for me. And I just could not understand, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why isn't my son breathing? So they rushed him to the NICU, pumping out his stomach, I heard, and trying to get him to breathe. And then his head, he was vacuumed out, so his head was very swollen. I'll insert some pictures. Like, when I say his head was swollen, my poor baby son, his head was so swollen, like it looked like it hurt. I had my mom and my sister take pictures, and I did not meet my son until I think a day or 2 later, because I had to let all that medicine wear out. But my poor baby, like, I didn't think that he was gonna make it. He's literally my miracle, and he's so strong, and I'm so happy that he's good, because we were in the hospital for 5 days, and for half of that time my son was in the NICU. And thank God for those nurses, because without them, I don't think my son would really be here, because thank God they paid so much attention to him and they made sure his breathing got up to par. I just thank God that my son is here today, because he's literally my lifeline. He's my joy, he's my happiness, and I don't know where I would be if I would have lost him. And I'm just so glad, because my son is so healthy now. He's literally my testimony. He had tubes. He had a feeding tube at a point. He had breathing monitor. His head was swollen. His heart rate was so low. But without God, my son, all I know is God is good. Because I literally have a healthy, happy, great personality, beautiful baby boy. He's 2 now. And my husband, when he made it to Colorado and he made it to Fort Carson and he saw his son and he held him, it was so beautiful. And I remember the first time I held him and he knew my voice. I was scared that my son would not know my voice, because we didn't meet each other right away like a regular mom and baby. Like, we didn't have that skin to skin, but he knew my voice when I held him with all those wires and in the NICU. And every time I wanted to visit my son, I had to go to the NICU. But I'm so glad my baby is here, and my son is 2, and he's healthy, and he's so happy, and he just made me see the world and my life so much different, because I don't know what I would have done if my baby boy did not make it. My son is my testimony, and that's why I'm sharing my story. I will insert clips. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Junior, if you see this when you grow up, I love you so much. You're mommy's testimony. You are the sun in my life. You don't know what you have done. You came at the right time. And you're just the most perfect little person that I've ever met. And I love you so much. So before I cry some more, thank you for watching. Have a blessed day. And please subscribe. Come back to my channel. Press the bell to get notified. Come back. Bye now.